The confrontation between Lily and Ethan was tense. She stood there, clutching her bag nervously, trying to find her voice. "Greater than, I'm his neighbor," she said softly. "I've been helping him for the past few months." Ethan frowned, glancing through the hospital window at his father, who lay weak but smiling faintly. "Greater than, my father doesn't need charity," Ethan said coldly. Lily's heart sank. It wasn't charity, it was kindness. Before she could say another word, Mr. Harris opened his eyes and called her name. "Greater than, Lily, you came." The old man's frail voice made Ethan turn sharply. "You know her?" Mr. Harris nodded weakly. "She's been feeding me, helping me live again. While my own son," he looked at Ethan, "forgot I existed." The room fell silent. Ethan clenched his jaw, guilt flickering in his eyes, but pride keeping him silent. Over the next few days, Lily continued visiting Mr. Harris in the hospital. She brought homemade soup and flowers, and read to him when he couldn't sleep. Ethan was always there, distant, watching, but never saying much. He couldn't understand her. In his world, people only did favors for money or power. Yet this young woman had spent months helping a stranger for nothing in return. One evening, as Lily was leaving the hospital, Ethan caught up with her. "Greater than, why did you help him?" he asked. She paused, surprised by his tone, softer now, almost curious. "Greater than, because no one else was," she said simply. "And because he reminded me of my dad." Ethan stared at her for a long moment. He had built an empire, but hearing her words made him feel small, like the boy who had left home years ago chasing wealth, only to lose what mattered most. That night, Ethan stayed by his father's bedside. For the first time in years, he held his father's hand. "Greater than, I'm sorry, Dad," he whispered. "I thought I was giving you a better life by staying away. I was wrong." Tears welled in the old man's eyes. "All I ever wanted was a call, son." Days later, when Mr. Harris was discharged, Ethan insisted on taking him to his mansion. But the old man refused. "Greater than, I'm happy in my little house," he said. "It's where I met Lily." Ethan glanced at Lily, then made a decision. "Greater than, then I'll make that house as comfortable as you want." "And Lily," he hesitated, "I'd like to thank you properly." Lily smiled politely. "You don't have to. I didn't do it for money." "Greater than, I know," Ethan said, his voice softening. "But maybe, you could help me too. With him, I want to make up for lost time." From that day forward, Lily became a bridge between father and son. She cooked, helped redecorate the old home, and often joined them for dinner. Slowly, Ethan's coldness began to thaw. He laughed more, stayed longer, and sometimes even baked cookies with them, terribly, but with heart. One afternoon, as they sat in the garden, Mr. Harris smiled knowingly at the two of them. "Greater than, you know, Lily," he said, "Ethan hasn't smiled this much in years. I think you've brought life back into this family." Ethan blushed slightly, clearing his throat. "Dad," Lily chuckled, "I'm just glad you two are talking again." But deep down, her own heart was changing too. She admired Ethan's determination to reconnect and saw glimpses of the man behind the billionaire, kind, protective, and humble in his quiet moments. Weeks turned into months again. Mr. Harris' health improved dramatically. One evening, Ethan invited Lily to a charity gala. "Greater than, you deserve to be celebrated too," he told her. She hesitated. Her dress was simple, and she wasn't used to high society events, but Ethan insisted. When she arrived at the gala, she drew admiring glances. Ethan introduced her proudly as, "the woman who saved my father's life." That night, during his speech, Ethan looked straight at her as he said, "Greater than, we spend our lives chasing wealth, but real richness is found in kindness, something I learned from an extraordinary young woman sitting right there." The room erupted in applause. Lily blushed, holding back tears. Later, as they stepped outside under the starlit sky, Ethan turned to her. "Greater than, you changed my father's life," he said softly. "And mine." Lily smiled. "All I did was cook some soup." "Greater than, no," Ethan replied, taking her hand. "You showed me what family means." From that night on, their bond grew deeper, built not on wealth, but on shared compassion and second chances. A year later, when Mr. Harris walked Lily down the aisle, he whispered with a smile, "Greater than, you fed an old lonely man, and ended up healing his whole family." And as Ethan took her hand, tears glimmering in his eyes, Lily realized that sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness led to the biggest miracles of all.